Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I am back with meditation. I took 2 days off because of all the insanity that was going on in the world, and I was like going, "Whoa, what's going on?" And then yesterday I was at field day with my amateur radio club group, and they were doing getting set up and everything for that. At any rate, I'm here now to do the meditation, and it's very interesting because there's a lot of timeliness to it, even though it was taken from a meditation I did back in January, and that was before all the insanity actually really started. So before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and pull a card, and as I usually do, and see what the card says. This has been very, very interesting, what's been going on with the world. I mean, just everything is happening right now at this moment, and we've all been sensing it. The energy's just been going completely bonkers, and we've just been like going, what is happening? What is going on here? And every day you wake up and there's something else, some other insanity that's taken hold, and you're going, what the heck? And you just don't know. I mean, it's like it feels like we're sitting. Do you remember that old show, The Gong Show, where people would get up and they would do all these really crazy things, and then they would be like sitting there going, and then they would bang a gong, and then the people would like leave the stage, and then the next crock of people would come in and they would do something, and then they would get gonged or they would get points or what have you. And it was kind of like the closest thing you could call it would be like something like Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent from the 70s, because that's what it was. And this is the image that I get when I look at what's going on. It's like different acts for the Gong Show, and all these people are going completely bananas, and they're acting out on this insanity that they're kind of participating in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a card and see what the energy is like today for the reading, or for the reading of the meditation, and then we'll see what happens. We'll just go from there. That's good? Okay, this is good. And the card I get is the Four of Pentacles, which really coincides with today's meditation. I mean, look at this guy. He is like holding those pentacles, like he is not letting them go for anything in the world. This guy is like the hoarder. He is the money hungry. I have to have it for me, 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 and nobody else is going to take it away from me. This seriously coincides with the meditation. And when I get into it, you'll see why. So I'm going to put this aside, and we'll pull some more cards afterwards. Okay, today's day number four. Day number 4, it's June 8th, 2025, and the word I'm using to describe it all is freedom. And I said the energy is all over the place. Logically, I know that this will pass, but it seems like the more things drop, the more desperate people become. And Ramon says, you nailed it right there. People are wanting to push their weight around. They want to show the world just how powerful they are. But in essence, they are showing the extent of their weakness. I said, what will happen next week? And Ramon says, the truth is what will happen. The realization that what people voted for will ultimately be realized. Will they want to accept or embrace the events that unfolded, or will it merely be another day? In truth, the reality will strike them in their hearts, and they must reconcile all of the things that they have done. I said, what should we as light workers do? And Ramon says, wait and watch what happens. I know that you want to do something, but sometimes watching the evildoers destroy themselves from the inside out is all that you can do. You understand that the energies are rather wayward at the moment, and that is why everyone in this community is saying, guides of many people are saying the same things. Wait it out, buckle up, protect yourself, your family, and your friends, and wait and watch things happen. Many are saying the fish will rot from the head down. Well, you're starting to see that rot is coming about. Why else do you suppose that people are watching these things are showing up with their faces covered? They know that if people cannot find out who that find them, the universe ultimately will. They will be exposed, perhaps not by technology, but by members of their own families, of their own communities. The cards are exposing this truth in many ways. It goes back to this, I think. I said, I don't know if I completely follow. And Ramon says, remember what you read about people being held captive by their thoughts? The energies of the people who are just, quote, following orders? Sorry. The energies of the people who are, quote, just following orders, unquote, are going to learn that any action they undertake will reap consequences. They may be seeing this play out in their personal lives. They may have a spouse, a daughter, a son, or even a neighbor who will be biding their time. And when the cards fall as they may, these people will understand that they have nothing to lose. The Nuremberg trials are being mentioned a lot, and this will be akin to that, except this time they will be shown in a very powerful way that they will have to answer, and it will not be pretty. Oh, this thing keeps falling here. Okay. I'm going to put something in front of it so it doesn't keep falling. Okay. As I speak of this, I am drawn to the meditation that you did before. This was day number 4, and you called it freedom. Please go ahead and let's speak of this, and you will see that this will all come together. And I said, okay, I am free, I am unlimited. And Ramon says, you posted that. You paused here, perhaps a dramatic pause. But you see that the notion of freedom is not to do as you please, but to do what will make you feel spiritually whole. The notion of freedom is not about rushing into a crowded theater and shouting fire. What it encapsulates is the notion of your heart being free and your mind being free from worry. Do you believe that the person who shouts fire in a crowded cinema is free? I said, no, not really. They must feel rather small to do something like that. And Ramon says, exactly. You see this person as weak, as someone who does not depict strength. Strength is not how much weight people can throw around or how much what they can bench press. It's about a strength of character. People may be able to capture you physically, but they cannot hold your mind. They cannot capture your thoughts. I said, but they have. I mean, this goes back to the motion of just following orders. And Ramon says, yes, it does. But how free do they feel? If they have to hide their face and conceal their identity, it may keep others from discovering their identity, but they alone must live with the darkness in their hearts. To lose one's conscience and to lose their sense of right versus wrong for the sake of a job and are feeble because of just following orders not only limits them to hiding in the shadows, but it shows just how small and feeble-minded they truly are. I said, how do their guides feel about these actions? Ramon says they feel helpless. They want to help, but if no one listens to them, then all they can do is just sit and watch and wait, just like the rest of you are doing. The loss of one's conscience is a massive loss. But let's continue. I said, okay, I can accomplish all that my heart desires. It is not just a question of when, it is a question of why I have yet to do so. Ramon says, you have done it, perhaps not as you physically believe, but following your conscience is how you were intended to grow. I said, music rings in my heart as I recognize the significance of my contributions to the world. Why have I not yet noticed it? Ramon says, to which I say, you have. I said, yes, but keep in mind, this was written 5 months ago. Things have changed in both my inner and outer world since then. And Ramon says, touché. And I said, is it my ego telling me that I am not worthy, or is it the echoes of the words given to me when I was younger? And Ramon says, how do you feel about that now? And I said, I feel as anyone else would have felt, the desire to have those around us in our families to accept and love us without condition. but I see in many instances that we long for the love that is unconditional. Those who these who receive it, or those who receive it from their families, are the lucky ones. Those who do not must search for it in another place, whether it is inside of them, through their guides, or simply walking away. And Ramon says, you are doing well of answering your own question. I said the answer to that is I put far too much focus on the words of others, the belief that I am perhaps less than what I truly am. I cannot say with 100% certainty. I can only say that I am who I am. I am capable of doing so much more than what I have been told. My mind is filled with ideas, with love emanating from spirit. The sounds I hear are infused in the wind, the soft sounds of the rain as it splashes against my window. And Ramon says, again, you are seeing the comforting messages of nature. They are accurately interpreted. I said, you are enough. It tells me each drop of water emphasizes that point. You are enough, and you are special as you are. It is not rocket science. You can reach the stars if you believe in yourself or your capabilities. And Ramon says, what are you thinking about as you read through this? I said, I'm thinking about the fact that there is a very rich man out there who may have more money than anyone, but he lacks far more than anyone can imagine. Spiritually, he's as poor a soul as one imagines. He is so pumped up on drugs to hide or conceal his absolute empty heart. And Ramon says, you feel sorry for him. I said, yes, to be that despised must be positively gut-wrenching. I do not like this man, and I do not wish for him to like me. I think the word I use is to describe him is indifferent. Can you imagine someone's reaction to the possibility of one of these men facing their own mortality and having the masses celebrate when they actually do? The fact that these people at their core are absolutely despised. Ramon says, you know that at their core, these people had never been told that they are enough, that they are good enough. They do not have to try and prove their worth. I said, they are monsters. Spiritually, they have nothing. They are like the imaginings of Terry Nation, the Daleks with no definable assets or goodness. They have lost their humanity in striving to prove their worth. They are beyond my pity. They have reached my level of indifference. I don't care about them, their rationales, or their money. Ramon, is there any justification for my feelings about these people? When I see all that the harm that they have done, I see no excuse for it. I see no justification at all. A bad childhood is the lamest bunch of nonsense I have ever heard. I had a bad childhood myself, but I never used that as rationale for being an asshole. And Ramon says, because you have empathy. They do not. Let's continue. You still have 3 pages left. I said, okay. As I watch the daylight fade into darkness, I see the spots of light filling the sky. The constellations are immediately visible, the stars beckoning me to the feeling of stillness. I can see these points of light that leave me to wonder what is out there. What wisdom lies in the stars? Is there even a remote chance that there is life beyond our world? And would that life ever want to be in contact with me? And Ramon says, you already know the answer to that. You have known since 1991 when you had that dream. I said, yes, but that was a dream. And Ramon says, was it really? The message that came through it was clear. You perceived it as a dream, but it was perhaps more than that. Was it a message that you picked up on from beyond the stars? I said, I don't know. It was pretty vivid, whatever it was. And Ramon says, you have seen things in your life, messages that have come to you in very profound lessons and words. These messages have been consistent. You have made contact. You may not consciously remember it, but you have borne witness to it. All of these questions have been answered. All of these things are at hand. I said, I know that I have angels and guides who do, but yet I ask myself, if there is something so beautiful and endearing that someone far out in space would consider contact with humanity as an option. And Ramon says they have. Perhaps not as intense or as massive as you imagine, but people have. It is only that most do not listen. This leads back to the man who wants to buy his way into space. It will never happen for him. He will never reach the stars because he is so bound to Earth and to the notion about money is the answer to all questions. The people who will ultimately understand their link to the stars are not those with material wealth, but instead those with spiritual wealth. I do not have the answer, at least at the initial writing of this. Yet I believe from the core of my being that it really does not matter, because the notion does not define me, nor does it lessen me. I breathe in the love of life, and those I hold dear are always present in my mind. There they are safe, secure, and loved. What tomorrow brings, I have no worries, and yet I know that whatever comes, my guides and I will be ready. And Ramon says, and so it is. We are ready, and we stand with you. And I said, the world is but one point in a vast universe, and whatever messages and ideas come to me will always be whatever it is I need at that particular moment in time. And Ramon says, beautiful and true. You know, most of this is an affirmation. It is the words that people need to hear and embrace. I said, thank you, Spirit, for blessing me with hope, freedom, and assurance that all will be well, regardless of what tomorrow brings. I am healthy, I am whole. I affirm these things not only today, but every day. There is nothing I lack, for the universe has a plentiful supply, and it is always there to sustain me. I go forward this day in the knowing that although I am a mere spot in the canvas of a vast universe, my presence here is significant. It matters, and I will overcome all of these obstacles which lie before me. All that I must do is hold on to the hope and keep the faith that it is so. Ramon says, very good. And look at how far you have come since the day you first wrote these words down. I am so very proud of you. And I said, thank you. That means a lot. And Ramon says, so you finish this out today. You get the last word. I said, thank you so much. I said, so here it is, the final thought for today. All is indeed well. And this simple affirmation will not only help me through the challenges I face, but may in fact encourage others to believe and know that these words are the truth. And that's where we ended. And so that's the meditation for today. So we get back to the card here. And this is interesting. This is interesting because, everybody knows who I'm referring to in the meditation. I do not name names. I do not mention names at all. But I think deep down inside, you know who it is I'm referring to. And this is what this individual has done. This individual has hoarded his money. He has hoarded it, and he's tried to use it as leverage to buy his way in and out of everything, every situation, every opportunity. And in fact, this could apply to both of the men in the conflict. And they do not have my empathy. They do not have my pity. They have my indifference. The next card I pulled, the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords, the expression on this man's face is kind of interesting because he looks like he's looking like he's regarding this man, I don't want to say with disdain, but the indifference on his face is just kind of amazing to me. I'm going to pull the book because I want to make sure that I, actually get the King of Swords personified in a good way, or in the way that it's supposed to be. King of Swords, throne sits in the element of air. His sword is prominently placed as he appears to be in deep thought. Okay. Um, in his presence, you get the distinct feeling you are being evaluated. Yeah, that's, I think he's evaluating this. I think that this is, I think this is personification of a lot of these people who are just following orders. I think that this person is the personification of that individual, the one who's just following orders to appease this person. And it is in fact kind of strange because this is just a Four of Pentacles. But this is the king. This is one of the royal suits in the tarot. So why is it that he is doing what he's doing? It is very, very difficult to ascertain. Maybe I need another card. Okay. And what I got is the Ace of Wands. So another minor arcana, but the Ace of Wands is the Ace of Wands. All of the aces represent new beginnings, but wands are also initiators. So this card appears a dynamic and driving energy force. Note the fire blazing from the magical ornate wand suspended in the sky. A pair of male hands appears to nurture the wand tentatively, almost reverently, reaching towards it. It represents the beginnings of actions and taking incentive, being creative and enterprise, the birth of new ideas, and in spiritualism, it can represent the seed of a new life. High degree of energy and action. So maybe it's these people taking action. They're following the orders of this man, being this official and taking action. And here we have the devil. The outcome, the devil is this is speaks for itself pretty much, I think. The devil is there. And I think this is kind of working towards an ultimate outcome, which is the Eight of Cups. And I'm going to look up the Eight of Cups because I'm not sure what that represents. But I think it's going to kind of define what all of this is ultimately about. One of the things that caught my eye with the Eight of Cups is that there are some cups that are overturned, which means that, that there's something missing. The figure in this card has his back turned away from the 8 cups behind him. The cups appear to have previously been carefully stacked, but some are now in disarray. The stance of the figure does not appear to be dejected. He is upright and resolute, gazing off in the distance, appearing ready to embark on a new journey, and listening to his inner voice. The full moon represents the subconscious mind. Okay, I know what this is now. I think I know what this is. You've got this person who is in charge, who's holding on to these pentacles for dear life. They want to keep their riches. They want to keep things intact. They turn towards the person who is the authority figures, the people who are kind of like, in charge. And they're bursting forward. They revere this person. They find him to be absolutely magical, if you will. But the underlying problem is this one. But in the end, they don't want any of it. They turn away from him. They turn away from this devil energy. They turn away from this because they know, deep down in their hearts, they know that this is going to lead them nowhere. They're turning away. And I think that this is what's going to happen. I think that this is a predictor of what's going to happen in the coming days and weeks. That we are going to see people finding their backbone, and they're going to find it, and they're going to say, you know what? This is not the answer to everything. This is not the answer to everything. They're going to walk away from it because they see what's coming. So that's what I got. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Today is a holiday here in Germany, and tomorrow is as well, and we'll see how it goes. Take care. Have a wonderful day, and as always, namaste.